Hey, podcast friends. This is Dr. Steve Hewlett with the podcast Simple Healthy Choices for Weight Loss, where every week we help people who have realized that as their health has been declining over the years, the number of medications they are being prescribed is increasing. We want to help you reverse this health path so you can live the vibrant, pain-free, and hopefully medication-free life you deserve to live. If you'd like even more information on this topic, you can go to Amazon or Audible and pick up my book, Your Plate is Your Fate. And if you think my book helps you on your new health path, please tell your friends and leave a review where you purchased it. Hey, welcome back, podcast friends. And in today's episode, I've got my beautiful wife, Teresa, with me. And we really wanted to explain to you about the most important thing that you can do before you ever start any kind of a lifestyle change. And that is you have to change your thoughts. You have to decide ahead of time that you want to commit to yourself, and you need to know why that's important. And so Teresa is going to guide us through this and we'll learn together.
Yeah. So we named this podcast Pre-Decide to Commit to Yourself, because you have to decide ahead of time that you're going to do this, because probably in the past you've done things and you didn't stick to it. So pre-deciding is the key. We believe if you think ahead about what you want to do, because when you think ahead, you're using the part of your brain that knows what you really want. But then when you don't pre-decide, then that part of your brain that wants you to stay the same is going to kick in. So even if you're 200 pounds overweight, your brain is still very happy there. Your brain's comfortable. So we just need to pre-decide. And so something we always talk about is, so we're going to talk about thoughts. So we're going to have our circumstance. So maybe you're 200 pounds overweight and you're going to have your thought about that, which is going to bring that feeling. Those feelings create your actions, and then those actions create your results. And so this is what we're always talking about, are your thoughts, because that's the most important thing. Whatever your thoughts are, because if your thoughts are bad, you can't lose the weight, then you're going to eat bad food. And then your action and your result is going to be you're still overweight. So that's what we're trying to do, is for you to pre-decide to commit to yourself.
Right.
So like we said, mindset's the most important thing, and you want to decide ahead of time. And I know that years ago, and we've talked about this before, we had done a 12-week program like 20 some years ago. And that was one thing they had us do every single night before we went to bed, was we planned for the next day. So we were pre-deciding what we were going to do tomorrow.
100%. We did this for 12 weeks and 100%. We did not miss a single night. That's what got us together. We got to get to bed. Right when we got to bed, we'd pull out our little food journals, and we already knew the week in advance what we wanted to eat throughout the week. But we also knew that things change even throughout the week and day to day. So we planned one day that week of what we were going to eat all week long. We went to the store and bought it. So it was already in our refrigerator and ready to go. And then every single night we looked, did anything change, or are we going to stick to what we already pre-planned? And sometimes they change because of meetings or whatever, but we still 100% of the time we did that. And I'm with Teresa. In fact, after we finished that 12-week, we did another 12-week and we still did the same thing. We actually slacked off a little on the second 12 weeks. And I don't think we saw as good of improvement. So
we felt like we had it, It's like, oh, we know how to do this. Then over time, it just takes a really long time. So you just really have to kind of keep with this. You could do this for a year or two. So you just have to be pre-deciding on what you want to do, or those old habits are going to come in. So like we were pre-deciding a week in advance, like he said, with the food, like what we're going to eat that week. And then every night before, we wrote down exactly what we were going to eat. And then that night we wrote down, what did we actually eat? And then what are we going to do tomorrow? And it sounds like a lot, but it really went really quickly because you find you do a lot of the same stuff. You're going to eat a lot of the same food. So it's just really easy. The big thing when you want to pre-decide is when something comes up, like you've been invited to dinner or there's a birthday party, and you just want to pre-decide how you're going to handle that situation, because it does still go back to your mindset, so that even if you pre-decide you want to have cake, perfectly fine, because you pre-decided instead of at the last minute, you're like, okay, I'll just have some cake. It's no, you're going to pre-decide if you want a piece of cake or not.
So you got to stick to it. If you pre-decide that you want that cake, eat the cake. If you decide you don't want to eat that cake, then don't do it. And every single little decision you make, and I know Teresa will be talking about this later, every single little decision that you make and you stick to it, that's just going to start the momentum going in the right direction. It's like, oh, I did it. You're going to feel so good about yourself. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But whatever you decide, pre-decide, stick to it.
Yeah. So these are the things that always come up with everybody. So we're tired, we're hungry, we're stressed, we're sad, or we're happy. And so if you have it pre-decided and it's the end of the workday and you haven't even thought about dinner, because I have done this plenty of times, where you're going to fall back into what you used to do. Maybe you went through the drive-through, maybe you ordered pizza, whatever you used to do, because you have something that's called decision fatigue. Now you're tired of it. I just can't even do this today. I'm not doing it tomorrow. I'll do it again tomorrow, or I'll try. I'm not doing it today. I will work on that tomorrow. So that's why you want to decide ahead of time, so that when you are tired, you don't have to think about dinner because you already pre-decided what you're going to do.
And it is so relaxing. You wait. We've been there. We used to be that way where we'd be, scrambling around, been going to meetings all day or whatever, working, get a hold. What do you want to eat tonight? I don't know. We didn't set anything out. Well, let's just go eat somewhere.
Right.
And I know we are not the only ones who do that. That is so common. And that's a big thing that we saw when we did start doing this, where we planned out a week in advance and then each night in advance. Those thoughts never crossed. We were never stressed about it. Oh, shoot, we didn't plan anything. What are we going to eat? Where are we going to eat? Blah, 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 blah. It's already planned. So it's really much more relaxing on your brains when you do pre-decide these
Right.
things.
And it's not like you have to do it at night before you go to bed if that's not a good time. It worked for us. You could do it in the morning, figure out for that day or the next day. So you figured out whenever it works best for you, but it still goes back to the pre-deciding. So you don't have to think about it again later, because we're thinking about things all day long. And by the time dinner rolls around, you're done. You're done thinking.
And when you do stuff like that, you waste so much energy. You're already energy zapped. And now you're wasting more energy trying to sit there, think of something that you could have done in first. And that is the most valuable assets you have is your time and your energy. And you really need to do as much as you can to make both of those work in your favor. So that kind of goes, and this is, I'm just going to hit on this real quick, but it kind of made sense to me. We were watching something on Einstein the other day and the theory of relativity. And I never, even though going through school all these years, I never really thought about it. And it made sense. When you think of theory of relativity means time is just relative. If you are a sprinter, fractions of a second make a huge difference. If you're a marathon runner, it's a different time. If you're talking about our lives, that's a different time. If you're talking about stuff out in the universe that are just floating around in the universe, they have no time. That's what theory of relativity is. It's all relative. It all depends on what's going on. If you're, in an extremely hot situation, you're going to want to get out of it. So time's going to go by really fast or really slow, depending on how you look at it. But that's the important thing is so many people get into a lifestyle change thinking it's a diet. One is like, oh my gosh, I've got 200 pounds to lose and I need to lose this in a month. It's not going to happen. And it should not happen. Time is whatever constraint you put on time. But if it took you a long time to get somewhere, it's going to take you a long time to get off. So don't focus on how much time it's going to take. Focus on, did I do better today than I did yesterday? And before you'll know that, you've got to have a goal. You set your goal, you go towards your goal. And then each day, am I closer to my goal than I was yesterday? And it doesn't matter if it's a little bit. It doesn't matter if it was like, normally at this time, I would have been ordering out for pizza. But today I didn't. I was pre-planned. That's going to secure that in your mind. It's like, I can do this. I can make decisions ahead of time. I understand. So don't worry about how much time it takes. Just worry, did you set a goal that you want? And are you going towards your goal each day? And it doesn't matter how much. Tiny goals are extremely important because as soon as you accomplish one goal, you're going to start feeling better about yourself. It's like, I bet I could set another goal and I could set another goal. So that's the main thing we want to say is don't be focused on time, how fast you can get this off. It's not about speed.
Right,
it's about going in the right direction.
Right. And this is about this. You will be doing this forever.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're getting ready to talk about some things that are going to take time. And this is just what you want to incorporate into your life. And these things will take time. But then as you incorporate them in, you realize it's just part of who you are now. And that doesn't feel like it takes any extra time.
And that's why it truly is called a lifestyle change.
Right.
Because the lifestyle you've been living has got you where you are now. So you have to decide, are you very happy with where you are now or are you not? Because if you keep doing the lifestyle you've been going up till now, you're not going to change. You have to change your mind, your thoughts first, change your lifestyle, and then you will feel better about yourself because you're doing something for yourself that you know is improving your health.
Right. So what you need to do is you need to take care of yourself, whether you want to call that self-care, whatever, but you absolutely have to put yourself first. Yeah, mostly. I mean, and everybody has different times in their lives. Like if you have small children, I realize all these things change because our kids were little whenever we did that 12-week program. We were getting up at 4 or 4:30 in the morning. I mean,
we were,
because our kids were up at 6. So
which just meant we got to bed earlier that night because you don't want to skip on sleep either. You really do. You change your whole lifestyle around, but you find out, I actually feel better doing it this way.
Right. So everybody has a different time in their life and things are different. So you just figure that out. But you do need to take care of yourself, however you can work that in. And so it's not just about food, it's also your sleep. You need to get plenty.
Just real quick, however, about food, just remember, if you've listened to any of my podcasts, the main thing you want to do is keep chemicals out of your body that don't belong there. Anything you eat that's made by man is chemical laden, nutrient void, and that's what you're putting in your body. And that's a lot to do with a lot of the stresses, diseases, everything we have are the foreign chemicals from man-made food. All we're saying is eat real food. It's not a diet. It's talking about eat the way you used to do all the way back and from the very beginning of time. Real animal meat, real fruits, real vegetables, period. Stay away. Look, if you can look on your fork and say, yes, God made this, that's good. But if you're holding up a Dorito or a cookie or a pizza, you say, God made this. No, he didn't. That was made by man. Get it out of there because that's just chemicals that are killing your body. So just real quick, that is a big thing is the nutrition the nutrients you give your body will help your body go through so many stressors. Okay,
so,
I'm sorry.
Anyway, so now we're going to talk about sleep. You need to get plenty of sleep, which Steve's done a podcast. So that was podcast 18. Is sleep really that important? So if you want to dive into that, like if you're having issues sleeping, he covers a ton of stuff on things you can do to help you to sleep better in the evening.
And it's so important. So many good things happen to heal your body while you sleep. So people say, oh, I go on 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. Man, that's not good. That's not good. Your body needs to go through that cycles of sleep to clear out the chemical waste in your body and to grow and heal. And sleep is very important. Very, very, very important.
And so is water. And so Steve's in a podcast on that. It's episode 17. Is water really that important? And so, and he goes into all the good stuff water does for your body. We talk, and then also movement. So that's walking, stretching, it doesn't have to be like HIIT training, which is all very good for you, but you just move because we sit all day long. We sit in our cars, we go to their job, we sit at the desk, we drive home, we sit on the couch and watch Netflix. We're sitting. So you have to make time to move more, even if you're going to get a step. We have a whole thing on movement. So there's no reason to go into all that.
Yeah, that's another podcast. Podcast number 29. Why is moving your body important for infection, nutrition, and swelling?
Yeah.
So when we say move, we mean walk. Whether you're walking around your house, whether you're walking outside, by far walking outside in the sun is by far the best thing. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit, but walk, just move your body.
Right. And we also have listed balance, flexibility, sunshine. He just talked about with walking outdoors. If you can lift heavy things for your strength, because as you get older, we lose muscle. And we need to be, if you see somebody that's really elderly and they're hunched over, that they've lost muscle, and that's why they're that way. So I know we're really trying not to have that happen to us. But like he said, to keep the chemicals out and make sure you're keeping nutrition in.
And one big chemical, and I'm going to do a whole nother podcast on this. She kind of went through sunshine really quick, but getting out in the sun, I just read a whole book on vitamin D, and oh my gosh, it is crazy. All what we've been brainwashed, we've been marketed to by drug companies and food companies to constantly think that, oh my gosh, we want to be healthy, we're going to use that stuff. And it is the exact wrong. This is trillions of dollars going into marketing to tell you to use their products so their companies can grow. Sunscreen is a farce. And you've got to get out in the sun. Don't burn. Don't be stupid. Get out in the sun. And as soon as you start getting warm, like you're going to burn, come back out, but you need that to get vitamin D. And as we saw through COVID, that was one of the biggest things, the infection, the inflammation that's in everybody's bodies now because of the types of food they eat and the chemicals that are all around us, especially the ones we put in our mouths, and vitamin D. Inflammation and low vitamin D and low magnesium were the three biggest reasons why people were coming in and dying from COVID, because everybody's so vitamin D deficient because we never get in the sun. We've been told that sun's horrible. You're going to get skin cancer. You got to have these sunscreens on. And it's a lie. It's all a lie. And I'm going to do a whole podcast on this to let you understand exactly what I'm saying. But sun is important. Get out in the sun. You need it.
Yeah. So when we're talking about pre-deciding, the name of this was to pre-decide to commit to yourself. It's so you'll reach your goals and you'll also have an increased self-confidence. And because, why should I try to do this? I haven't done it in the past. It's like, well, we want to change that. There's no reason to stick with what you've done in the past when you absolutely have the ability to change. And all it takes is just keeping those promises to yourself, because that is the one person that we will break promises to, and that is ourself. We won't break them to our friends or family or whatever, but we will to ourselves. So that is just the self-confidence that you will get from pre-deciding and sticking to those goals. Even if it's going to go for a walk. I mean, these little decisions just really build on each other.
And that's true. Little goals. They say, oh, you want to make this big bodacious goal. It's like bull. What you need to do is get momentum going, because a lot of people don't even think about goals. They don't think about their future. They don't think about that. So what we want our listeners to do is think about it. And if you set a very small goal, one you're going to achieve, set it and achieve it. And it's like, next time you'll think, that was easy. Maybe I should set a little bit more difficult goal. So you say just a little bit more difficult, and then you achieve it. And all of a sudden you keep doing this, and you're starting to get momentum, and you're going to become someone who actually thinks about goals, prioritize them. You've got to know what your long-term goal is. If it's weight loss, if it's lose 200 pounds, have more activity, lift more, whatever your goal is. Like I said earlier, just make sure that you are better yesterday or better today than you were yesterday. And you're going to do the self-confidence in your brain, which is where it's most important, by making little bitty goals and achieving those little bitty goals to get you with the momentum of continuing it. And that's what life's all about. That's what makes life so fun, is make goals of things you really, really, really want to do. Whether it's read a book, go somewhere, do something, whatever. Make life fun for you. Set that a goal. And no matter what your goal is, you will never go wrong with improved health. That should be everybody's goal, is you've got to have goals. Because if you have all these other goals and you don't have your health, chances are you're not going to do it unless it's a goal that you can accomplish by sitting on your couch. And if that's it, then that's not going to be a very good goal. I'm just going to say it now.
Maybe for some. But another thing that'll happen, because we talk a lot about sugar and being addicted to sugar, you're getting dopamine hits whenever you eat all that sugar and
carbohydrates, period, because all carbohydrates
right.
get broken down to glucose.
And so you're getting these dopamine hits. Well, you can do the same thing with these things that are good for you as well. It'll take a little time, but you will start training your brain, like to go for a walk after dinner. Well, you can start training your brain. I mean, like, oh, well, that felt good. I mean, I feel so much better. Yeah. Well, the next time you have dinner, it's like, do you want to go for that walk? Maybe before you would have been like, no, let's just go ahead and sit down. Well, it felt pretty good. So the next thing you know, you're going to be getting these little dopamine hits, and you're going to be like looking forward to that walk after dinner.
Yeah.
And it's with anything that you do, you want to train your brain to get those hits from these things that are good for you, and to stop with the sugar and the carbs.
And don't go crazy. Start small, little bitty goals. So if you're not used to walking and you're 200 pounds overweight, don't say, okay, today my goal is I'm going to walk around the block twice. No, it's whatever you are. But if your goal is to walk down your driveway and back because you've never done that before, make that your goal. Don't go. People, when they set goals, especially if they haven't done it in a while, and you definitely see this in weightlifting, if weightlifting and you set out for, say 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then you go back and you think you're going to lift the same thing you were, chances are you're not. You're going to have to decrease your weights and start back up again, because it's crazy how quick these things go down. So what people tend to do, they haven't worked out, they haven't lifted, and this isn't about lifting, I'm just using this as an example. They haven't lifted since high school, and now they're in their mid-30s. It's like, oh, yeah, I used to work out in high school. I'm going to lift the same thing I did then. And they hate it. They're straining, they're stressing themselves. They hate it, and they leave, and they're like, God, now I know why I don't work out anymore. That is the wrong way to do it. You don't want to do that. When you leave the gym, when you leave any goal that you set for yourself, when you get back, you want to say, now that felt good. I bet I could do more next time. That's the thought you want. So set little bitty goals where you get that thought. Don't go crazy, burn yourself out and say, yep, I knew this was a stupid goal. I'm never going to do this. And I don't even care about my health anymore. That is not what you want to do. And that is definitely not what we want you to do. So do not underestimate the little tiny bitty goals to get those dopamine hits that Teresa's talking about, make you feel better about yourself, make you want to set more goals, and just make sure they're all in line with the path of what your ultimate goal is.
Right. Because, we do try to use food. The food companies have made it so that we become addicted to it.
Yes.
And we just want to keep going back for more.
And it's horrible. It's not food. It's not. When you think of food as nutrients for your body, the things your body needs, the protein, the fat, the vitamins, the minerals, you're not getting any of that in man-made food. And they know that. That's why they're telling everybody red meat's bad, milk, dairy is bad, stay away from all this stuff. Because when you stay away from healthy stuff, you get to eat their horrible stuff, and that makes you sick. So now you can use all the drug company stuff, and they are making billions and trillions of dollars off you being sick. So ignore the marketing and think of your food as nutrients. Does this have protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals? And I guarantee if you're eating man-made food, it does not. So don't eat for comfort. Eat for nutrition. Give your body the nutrients it needs, and I guarantee your body is going to perform so much better for you. So
That was a lot.
sorry, I keep interrupting.
So, we can't leave this out. So with the mental part of all of this, I would say if you could take some time every day to be grateful and thankful and feel blessed for your life with prayer or meditation. When you go for those walks, you could pray at that time. So now we're stacking things together. We're going to pray while we're walking or meditate or whatever you do. But those are the things, because if you're having a stressful day, and even if you have pre-decided that you want whatever it is you planned for dinner, and you've had a stressful day, you may be like, I'm just going to go ahead and go through the drive-through. I mean, because trust me, it's going to happen. You're going to want to have that old comfort food that you've had before. But if you could just stop, take some breaths, even if you're driving in your car, pray, be grateful, be thankful, just tell yourself how blessed you are.
And this sounds like it's easy. And the main thing is how so important this is to you. But when you watch the mainstream media nowadays and all the stuff going on, it is so easy to start feeling negative, start feeling scared, start thinking everything negative is going on around you. Yet you start accumulating other people around you that think the same way, and you sit around and just badmouth life and everything. There's no truth to that. There may be bad things going on, but you really got to decide, can you do anything about it? And if you can, then maybe that could be a goal that you try to do. Most things that the mainstream media gets people to stress out about, you can't do anything about. The worst thing you can do is sit and think negative thoughts and think everything's going to gloom, because I guarantee it will with your thoughts that way. So when you think about all the great things, and there are beautiful things all around us all the time, there are wonderful things. We are so blessed. And if you focus on that, you're going to start thinking those lines as you're getting your body healthier. You're starting to change your thoughts. You're more blessed. You feel like you deserve these things, because of you're trying to do the good things. You're going to come out smiling and feeling happy. And you're going to find that you're going to start accumulating other people around you. They're going to see your glow and they want that. And you're going to find other people around you that are doing the same thing. And it's so easy. We don't hang around people who sit here around stressed about, oh my God, the world's going to the, heck in a handbasket or whatever. We don't. Our friends, they're all doing stuff. They're doing their life. We get together. We have a blast. We laugh all the time. I mean, it is wonderful. But I see other people and they don't do that. Please don't be one of those people. There are great things all around you all the time. I was going to go into a little word picture, just a word picture that we heard. We've always heard life's like a roller coaster. Sometimes you have your ups, sometimes you have your downs. That used to make sense to me, but then I thought of a different way. That's not really true. There's two tracks on a roller coaster. Think of one track as good times and the other track as bad times. So both tracks are down in the valleys. Both tracks are up at the top. It's just that when you're up at the top, it's easy to be on the rail that is having good times. But then all of a sudden it starts going down, and now you switch back over to the other rail. It's your choice. How long do you want to stay on that rail? even when you're in your lows, that's the most important time to switch back over and start thinking about the good times. That's when you really have to think about, why are you truly blessed? What are you truly thankful for? Whether it's a spouse, a child, family member, friend, health, whatever it is to you that you can be blessed for, the low times are the best times to get on that happy rail. That's the one you want to really focus on. And just like God says, it's easy to love the people who are nice to you. What's hard is to love the people who are evil to you. He's saying the same thing. There's good, there's bad, but keep your thoughts as positive as possible. And as you do this, you're going to find it's easier and easier that when you get in your depths, you're going to think, whoa, I'm in a depth. This is the time I really need to focus on getting over there on that happy roll and start thinking about everything I'm blessed with, which is what Teresa was saying. When you go for these walks out in the sun, you're quiet. You can talk to God. You can talk to whoever, but think about your blessings. And I guarantee you're going to feel better and you're going to pull yourself out of it.
Yeah. So
I guess.
No,
Do you have anything else?
No, it's good.
Okay. I know we've rambled on and we tend to do that. I definitely know I do. But that's really all we have to say for today. So to pre-decide, commit to yourself that you want to be healthier now than you were yesterday. Make little tiny goals and achieve them and feel good about yourself. Write your goals down, read them. We've talked about these in past podcasts also, but this is your life and you can choose to go through it depressed, overweight, anxious, a feeling of, now what am I going to do with myself? I can't do anything, to feeling, look at these goals I'm achieving. I'm getting healthy. I'm feeling better. I feel so blessed. I'm out walking. I'm in the sun. It is crazy how your mind changes and it will take time. So remember, time, it's a theory of relativity. Time is all relative to what you are. Don't think you're going to do this in a very small amount of time if it took you 35 years to get there, 40 years or whatever. It's going to take time to get off. As long as you're better today than you were yesterday, you're going in the right direction. So I guess that's all we have for today. So once again, as always, thank you so much for listening and have a great week. And as always, make simple, healthy choices to live a quality life. And we'll see you on the next podcast or talk to you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the subscribe button below and be sure to tell someone else who may want to change their health path as well. And don't forget, you can also purchase my book, Your Plate is Your Fate, on Amazon or Audible. And if you do, please leave a review.